I'll give another minute for other commissioners to join.
Lillian, did you make it home okay, Lillian? No traffic issues?
I did.
Oh,
I'm
that's
here.
good. That's good. And you have electricity, so that's good.
Yes.
Good evening, Commissioner Albana. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good evening.
It's really nice to see everyone. We haven't had a meeting in a couple of sessions, or about a month, so a little over a month. So
Okay, when we hit the 7:01, I'm going to go ahead and start. Okay.
oh, there we go.
Got everyone now. All right, great. I am going to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the Milpitas City of Milpitas Planning Commission, October 10th, 7 o'clock. As I stated, I'm calling the meeting to order. Here, first order of business, Pledge of Allegiance. Chair Tao is not here, so I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So please rise. Put your right hand over your heart. Begin. I pledge of
Allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Right. All right, Ms. Medina, next item on the agenda is roll call. Would you please?
Good evening, everyone. I'll now take attendance. Commissioner Albana.
Present.
Commissioner Alcorn.
Present.
Commissioner Belong.
Present.
Vice Chair Chuan.
Present.
Commissioner Ciardella.
Present.
Commissioner Galong.
Present.
And Chair Tao is absent this evening. Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, let's see, next item is conflict of interest declaration. City Attorney.
Thanks, Vice Chair. I asked whether any of the commissioners have a financial or personal conflict of interest on any of the items before you tonight. I'll start with Commissioner Galang.
No, sir.
Commissioner Ciardella.
And no.
Commissioner Albana.
None.
Commissioner Belong.
None.
Commissioner Alcorn.
None.
Vice Chair Chuan.
None.
And Chair Tao is absent. So let the record reflect none to that question.
All right, thank you. All right, next item is approval of the agenda. Planning Director, any comments regarding the agenda?
No comments. There are no changes tonight. Thank you.
Okay. I actually, let's see. I have, how about any other commissioners? Any other comments or on the agenda?
No.
Okay, I actually have one. There needs to be a
Oh.
correction that needs to be made on under the public hearing item number 1. Down at the bottom is California Senate Bill 300. It should actually be 330. And then the other item with the Pledge of Allegiance with Chair Tao not being present, if we can change that to myself, Vice Chair Chuan. So those are only, yeah. Okay, so with that, can I get a motion?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
We have some amendments that need to be made for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, maybe you want to restate that. Commissioner Ciardella.
Yeah. Motion to approve the agenda as submitted with corrections.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Ciardella and a second from Commissioner Galang. Let's do the roll call vote. Commissioner Albana,
Aye.
Commissioner Galang,
Aye.
Commissioner Belong,
Aye.
Commissioner Ciardella,
Aye.
Commissioner Alcorn,
Sorry, aye.
and Vice Chair is aye, so 6-0. Thank you. So agenda is approved. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for September 8th, 2021. Do I have a motion? Or does anyone have any comments? Any of the commissioners have any comments? Planning Director, any comments? Okay, if no
Okay,
comments, can I get a motion? Can I get a motion for the approval of minutes for September 8th, 2021?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Belong and a second by Commissioner Alcorn. Let's do the roll call vote. Commissioner Albana,
Aye.
Commissioner Galang,
Aye.
Commissioner Belong.
Aye.
Commissioner Ciardella,
Aye.
Commissioner Alcorn.
Aye.
Vice Chair is also aye, so 6-0. So minutes are approved. Okay, next item is the announcements. Do I have any announcements from any of the planning commissioners?
Yes, I have an announcement to make. So tonight will be my last meeting. I will be resigning from the commission. I've already submitted my letter to all the entities. So it's been a pleasure to serve. Unfortunately, I won't be able to serve anymore because I'm be moving south of Milpitas. So,
Aw.
so it's a bittersweet, but definitely was a great experience, and I had a pleasure serving the citizens of Milpitas. So, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your service, Commissioner Belong, and we will miss you. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Do I have any other announcements from any other commissioners? Okay, no other announcements. Planning Director, any announcements?
I have a couple of things following up on Commissioner Belong's announcement. Just let you know that this is the time of year when coordinating with the city clerk on both appointments to the Planning Commission and reappointments if the terms are about will expire at the end of the year. We start in October and then it goes to the council in November, December, so that we're ready to start with the new commission and the new appointments in January. So obviously Commissioner Belong's seat will be vacant, so it will be a new appointment. And then we have 3 seats that are actually up for reappointment, including Chair Tao and Commissioner Alcorn and Commissioner Galang. Their appointments will expire at the end of this year, and so there will be a necessity for the reappointments there. If you're interested in continuing to serve, then you will need to submit your application to the city clerk for consideration by the council, appointment by the mayor, and then consideration by the council. And my other announcement then, usually we look forward and I give you meetings that are coming up, but I have 2 meetings I just wanted to inform you of that happened earlier this week. On October the 25th, on Monday, we held a community open house online for the Metro specific plan. And we had a pretty good attendance and a lot of good participation from several members of the community. There is an online survey that if anyone, the open house will continue online on the project website, which is metroplan.org. I believe, Liz, was that meeting recorded? And maybe there's a link on the website. Do you know? Oh.
Yes, so there is a link. It's on our YouTube, City of Milpitas YouTube channel, this past Monday's meeting, and I believe it is also on the
a link
Met,
to it.
yeah, milpitasmetro.org
Yeah,
website.
and also on that milpitasmetro.org website is an online survey, just a few questions that you can take once you've reviewed the plan. Then the consultants are looking for some feedback. So this was the first time for us to share the draft version of the full plan with the public. We also shared it with the council earlier this month in a special council meeting. So now is sort of the public comment period. It will continue for a number of months. The consultants are working on the environmental review document that's required. It's an environmental impact report under the California Environmental Quality Act. And then at some point, likely just after the first of the year, all of those documents will come back to the Planning Commission for full review and recommendation to the council, and then on to the council for final adoption. So still a number of check-in points and opportunities for both the planning commissioners and members of the public to comment on the plan. But I just wanted to make you aware that that progress is being made on that plan. And just the very next day, on Tuesday, October 26th, we don't rest on our laurels long here in the planning department. We had a kickoff meeting for the update of our other specific plan, which is the Midtown specific plan. We're now referring to it as the Gateway Main Street or Main Street Gateway specific plan. Kickoff meeting is usually held as it's the first, sort of official meeting, internal meeting with staff from various city departments to meet with the consultants, talk over the scope of work, what's needed, what are next steps, and answer any questions. So that was held on Tuesday afternoon. Next steps will be to put together a project website. They will consultants will initiate the public outreach. Watch for them. We're hoping that they will be able to have a booth at the Holiday Magic event that the city is hosting in early December to get some initial feedback from the community. Expect a lot of community members down on Main Street at that time. And then they'll begin working on what's known as the existing conditions report, which is it's kind of like when you go to the doctor's office and they check you out, and before they prescribe anything, they always want to take your temperature and see, and that's kind of the equivalent in planning terms, is to do the existing conditions report to see what's over in the Midtown area now, what's happening, and then they will begin to work on the plan. So we expect there will be a series of meetings with both Planning Commission and particularly the council in early next year. Progress will be very similar to the Metro plan, where we talked to the council a lot about policy framework. It is kind of a tricky plan because we have Main Street as well as the Calaveras corridor, and then a newer area that we want to take a look at for economic development opportunities by connecting Abbott Court with Thompson Court, which is they currently sort of dead end and don't connect. So lots of work to be done, and we look forward to coordinating with the commission over the next year on that plan as well. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Planning Director. Okay, next item on the agenda is the public forum. Those interested are invited to address Planning Commission on any subject not on tonight's agenda orally via Zoom webinar. Instructions are posted on the agenda. Speakers may provide their name and address, name and city of residence for the recording secretary's record, and comments may be limited to 3 minutes or less. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or the Planning Commission, and no action can be taken. Planning Commission may instruct the staff to place the item on a future meeting agenda. Ms. Medina, do we have anyone in the public in the queue?
Vice Chair, there are no community members in the queue for public forum.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. And so I will hand it over to City Attorney.
Thanks, Vice Chair. Just very briefly. So Assembly Bill 361 provides local agencies such as the Commission with the ability to meet remotely under proclaimed state of emergencies under modified Brown Act requirements. The City Council adopted a resolution making the required findings to authorize remote meetings for legislative bodies of the city at its October 5 meeting. But since the Planning Commission also has final decision-making authority, we thought it would be prudent for the Commission to adopt its own resolution to ensure compliance with the provisions of AB 361. If commissioners or members of the public have any questions or would like to further discuss this item, then I would recommend that the item be pulled from consent. Otherwise, the commission may take a vote.
Okay. Do I have any questions for City Attorney from the Planning Commission? Okay. No questions. Okay. With no questions, so the recommendation here is to adopt the resolution. Can I get a motion? Can I get a motion to regarding this item?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. City Attorney, do they need to go over read the full adoption of the resolution or?
No need, Vice Chair. I think it's pretty clear in the report and the
Okay.
resolution.
All right. Well, then we'll do the roll call vote. Commissioner Albana,
Yes, I concur with the city's intent and decision to continue our planning commission's virtual meetings. So it's
okay. Okay. Commissioner Galong.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Belong.
Yes.
Commissioner Ciardella.
Yes.
Commissioner Alcorn.
Yes.
Okay. Vice Chair is yes. So resolution is adopted. Thank you, City Attorney. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing item. And this is the 32 townhome development on 2001 Terrib Court. Planning Director.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Yes, this is a new development and located in the Metro planning area. It's just south of the BART station, the Milpitas Transit Center and BART station. This neighborhood, of course, will eventually connect directly to the BART station via a planned bridge over Penitentiary Creek that is the extension of South Milpitas Boulevard. So there's quite a bit of activity going on in this particular neighborhood. If you've been down there lately, you'll see that Toll Brothers has a similar townhome development. Some are about half completed, just on the other side of Terrib Court. And we now have a different developer, True Life Companies, who has presented this application, as you mentioned, for a 32-unit townhome condominium project. We have our acting senior planner, Lillian Van Hoa, here tonight to present the staff report and answer any questions. As I noted in my email to you earlier tonight, this is an interesting project because it comes to the city under Senate Bill 330, which is the Housing Crisis Act of 2019. So there are certain requirements. It very much streamlines the review process, and Lillian will describe that a little bit in her report. And then if you have any questions, we're happy to answer. And I believe that we have representatives from the developer here tonight as well, and they're also online. I'll turn it over to Lillian. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Planning Director. Go ahead, Lillian.
Thank you, Vice Chair, and thank you, Planning Director Thomas. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Lillian Van Hoa, and I'm an acting senior planner with the City of Milpitas. The item in front of you tonight is a site development permit, conditional use permit, and tentative map and environmental assessment for a new multifamily townhome development to be located at 2001 Terrib Court. Next slide, please. As mentioned, the application is for a number of items. A site development permit, which requires planning commission review, will allow the development of a 32-unit townhome condominium subdivision comprised of 2 multifamily buildings up to 50 feet in height, with tandem garages, access from a central drive aisle, and associated site improvements on a 1.22 acre site. A conditional use permit is required, which also requires planning commission review due to the condominium use. The vesting tentative map, which requires city council review, is required to establish the 32 condominium spaces, common areas, and to record site easements. And lastly, an environmental assessment was created to allow a third-party consultant to review and determine the project is covered under the previously prepared and adopted addendum to the 2008 Transit Area Specific Plan EIR for the project site and can be exempt from further environmental review as required by the California Environmental Quality Act. Next slide, please. This map shows the general location of the site in regards to the neighborhood. So as you can see, the project site is located on the southern border of the city of Milpitas, north of San Jose and Lundy Place, west of several multifamily developments known as or located on 1992 Terrib Court and 551 Lundy, also now known as Parkside, and east of some existing industrial buildings and multifamily residential development. Next slide, please. This is the zoning map of the property. Here you can see the city boundary along the southern end of the site. The project site is zoned high density multifamily residential or R3 with a transit oriented development TOD overlay, and it is within the transit area specific plan. The areas immediately adjacent to the project site are also zoned R3 with a TOD overlay. Next slide, please. So a little bit of history on the project site. On October 17, 2017, the Planning Commission and City Council had approved the General Plan Amendment, Transit Area Specific Plan Amendment, and the rezone of the project site in conjunction with 1992 551 Lundy, sorry, 1992 Terrib Court, 2001 Terrib Court, 675 Trade Zone Boulevard, and 551 Lundy. The project site is now zoned multiple family, high density with the transit oriented development overlay or R3 TOD. And then on August 20th, 2019, the City Council and Planning Commission had previously adopted resolution number 8899, approving a development application for a 40-unit condominium project at the project site. And then on March 25th, 2021 of this year, the applicant submitted a new preliminary application pursuant to Senate Bill 330 for a 32-unit townhome subdivision at the project site. And the applicant formally submitted an application for the project on April 30th, 2021. Next slide, please. And so just a little bit of an overview about the California Senate Bill 330. So SB 330, also known as the Housing Crisis Act of 2019, became effective January 1st, 2020, and declared a statewide housing emergency through January 1st, 2025. The Housing Crisis Act allows an applicant to submit a preliminary application for any housing development project as defined in the government code. Under SB 330, eligible housing projects are eligible for enhanced streamlining and vesting opportunities through a process initiated by the filing of a preliminary application. Once the preliminary application is deemed complete by the local jurisdiction, the housing development project is subject only to the ordinances and policies and standards adopted and in effect at the time the preliminary application was submitted. In addition, housing development projects that meet all applicable objective general plan and zoning standards may only be subject to a total of 5 public hearings, including continuances and most appeal hearings. Next slide, please. And so here is the project site plan. As proposed, there will be 32 units and 64 parking spaces. Of the unit mix, there are 4 2-bedroom units and 28 3-bedroom units. And here the site plan shows the project, which is comprised of 2 16-unit multifamily buildings, each over individual tandem garages. The residents and guests would access the property either by driving through or only by driving through the private street off of Terrib Court on the east side of the project site. And if they're walking, they can access it also through the sidewalk off of Lundy Place, as well as Terrib Court. Guest parking is located on the north side of the private street entrance and along the end of the driveway by the emergency vehicle access entrance off of Lundy. As mentioned, so each unit will have its own 2-car tandem parking garage. The driveway entrance off of Lundy will be gated off for EVA access only. Remote control access will be provided by the HOA to fire and waste management. The site design also includes a common area on the southern side of the site, which consists of various landscaping, a bench, mailbox station, and concrete paving. And to maintain a consistent streetscape along Terrib Court, the project will be required to install decorative concrete paving to identify all on-street parking spaces. Next slide, please. Here are the front and rear elevations of the 2 multifamily buildings. They will be 3 to 4 stories in height, and they will mirror one of each other across the central drive aisle. This arrangement preserves the ground floor open space and creates a 26-foot wide drive aisle between the buildings as necessary for fire access. The project's contemporary architectural design uses stucco, siding, stone tile veneer, and a variety of metal details. Variations in the building colors, materials, and planes, and protruding balconies provide architectural interest and avoid a boxy appearance. The building massing is broken up through an alternating painted color blocking treatment of dark green, light gray, and steel blue. At the ground level, stone tile veneer and metal awnings frame the entry to the units. The garage doors face the interior drive aisle, while the grand raised entrances face Terrib Court to enhance the public realm of Terrib Court's streetscape. The project has a similar architectural style to the Parkside project across Terrib Court and visually relates to those previously approved 3-story townhomes. Next slide, please. These are the proposed development standards for the project. As you can see, the project conforms to the R3 TOD zoning district and meets all of the development standards for height, setbacks, projections, block size, building orientation, density, open space, and usable open space as set forth in the zoning ordinance. Next slide, please. And while the project is mostly conforming to the development standards, there are a few deviations that they're requesting. And so I thought I would discuss how they are able to achieve those deviations. So to encourage the production of affordable housing, the state density bonus law allows developers to receive a density bonus of up to 50% increase for most projects, depending on the amount of affordable housing provided. This density bonus is a state mandate, and any developer who meets the requirements of the state law is entitled to receive the density bonus and other benefits as a matter of right. The city's local density bonus ordinance mirrors the state's requirements. And so this project is providing the city's required 15% affordable units on site, which means that the project is eligible to receive certain waivers under the affordability provisions of the state density bonus law. It's important to note that while the project is not requesting additional density, it is entitled to up to 1 concession, unlimited waivers of development standards, and parking standard reductions. Next slide, please. And so here are the parking requirements under the transit area specific plan. A minimum of 51 and a maximum of 64 resident parking spaces are required for the proposed project based on the bedroom count. The applicant proposes to provide 64 residences or 64 resident spaces, the maximum allowed in a tandem configuration. And normally in the zoning ordinance, we only allow up to 50% of resident parking to be in a tandem configuration. However, since the project is an eligible project under the state density bonus law, it permits all on-site parking to be provided through tandem parking or uncovered parking. Additionally, the applicant may request reduced parking standards for the entire development. The reduced parking standards are inclusive of guest parking and handicap parking and may be tandem or uncovered. And so although they are required normally and under the zoning ordinance to provide 10 guest parking spaces, they are providing 9 in this project, which is permitted under the state density bonus law. And lastly, they are also providing more than what's required bicycle parking on site for guests. Next slide, please. The transit area specific plan requires all new developments to provide 3.5 acres of parkland for every 1,000 persons or payment of fees in lieu. The project proposes 32 units, resulting in an estimated population of 80 persons. Based on this population estimate, the project is required to provide 0.28 acres of parkland, equivalent to approximately $777,000. All projects in the task area are required to pay a transit area development impact fee, a portion of which is used for park and recreation purposes within the task area. The park portion of the task fee for this project is valued at $690,000, equivalent to 0.25 acres of parkland. So this amount will be applied to the project's parkland requirement, leaving a delta to be satisfied of 0.03 acres or an in lieu fee of approximately $87,000. To satisfy the 0.03 acre delta, the applicant is proposing the use of their 0.12 acres of private recreation space on site, which is allowed by the municipal code. Each unit will have its own private balcony, totaling 3,568 square feet of private rec. The private recreation areas also include a bench, mailbox station, concrete paving, and various landscaping as shown on the landscape sheets on the project plans. Next slide, please. Some other requirements. So I had previously mentioned the task impact fee. The project will be required to pay this fee, and based on 32 units and the latest task increased fee of $44,009, the estimated task impact fees collected will be $1.4 million. The project will pay this fee at the issuance of building permits. The project will also be required to comply with the city's public art program. The fee is set at 0.5% of building development costs. The project will also pay the fee based on the construction valuation at building permit issuance. And then, as I previously mentioned, they will also be complying with the city's affordable housing ordinance, which requires that all new residential development projects of 10 units or more designed and intended for permanent occupancy are required to construct 15% of the total number of dwelling units within the development as affordable units. The project has proposed to dedicate 5 of the 32 units for moderate income households, and this is conditioned as part of the condition of approval. Next slide, please. Staff has confirmed that the project meets the findings associated with site development permit, conditional use permit, and vesting tentative map. Those findings have been addressed in the resolution and discussed in the staff report. Next slide, please. So in June 2019, a CEQA analysis was performed by LSA. Oh, sorry. Prior to that, in June 2008, the City Council certified the Transit Area Specific Plan, EIR. For the first iteration of this project in August 2019, a CEQA analysis for a higher density version of the project was done to evaluate the project's consistency with the task EIR. The analysis found that there is substantial evidence to confirm that the project was within the program level scope of the task EIR. The environmental assessment concluded that an addendum was the appropriate document to address those modifications. The analysis contained in the environmental checklist confirmed that the modified project was within the scope of the task EIR and would have no new or more significant effects, and no new mitigation measures were required. Next slide, please. So as part of this development application, the applicant submitted a peer review memorandum conducted by First Carbon Solutions and a traffic analysis peer review conducted by TJKM. Both memorandums confirm that the project is still within the scope of the task EIR and will have no new significant or more severe impacts. And the city then subsequently hired on LSA to prepare the environmental assessment and peer review memorandum. The memorandum found that the consistency analysis generally meets the requirements of CEQA and employs sound methods and analysis to develop its conclusions. The memorandum concluded that the project is still within the scope of the task EIR, and the subsequently prepared categorical exemptions prepared for the previous version of the project would not have any new significant or more severe environmental impacts beyond those that have been previously identified. And lastly, as a separate independent basis, staff has also determined that the project is exempt under CEQA guidelines section 151.82 and 151.83 and 151.68 of the CEQA guidelines. Next slide, please. 412 postcards were sent to property owners and residents. The project was noticed in the Milpitas Post, and a yellow sign was also placed on the project property. The project description and plans were posted to the online public forum on the planning webpage 3 weeks prior to the public hearing. This was in lieu of hosting an in-person community meeting. To date, staff has received one comment regarding the project. The comment discussed the project's architecture and building colors, and it was included for the record and posted online. Next slide, please. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open and close the public hearing, consider the consistency memorandums to the addendum to the task EIR and the exemptions in accordance with CEQA, and adopt resolution number 21-022, recommending that the City Council approve Site Development Permit number SD 21-0004, Conditional Use Permit number UP 21-0005, Vesting Tentative Map MT 21-0001, and Environmental Assessment number EA 21-0001 to allow the development of a 32-unit townhome condominium subdivision comprised of 2 multifamily buildings up to 50 feet in height, with tandem garages, access from a central drive aisle, and associated site improvements, subject to the conditions of approval. This concludes staff's summary of the project. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Van Hoa. At this time, do any of the commissioners have any questions for staff? Okay, I don't see any hands raised. Okay, if there's no questions, Ms. Van Hoa, is the applicant have any presentation or? that they'd like to prepare or to
Yes.
show from the commission? Okay.
They have a presentation prepared.
As you can see on your screen, we have Leah Beniston from True Life Companies. I believe she has a prepared presentation.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Good
Welcome.
evening, commissioners. Thank you. Thank you, Ned, and thank you, Lillian. That was a very comprehensive summary. And because it was so comprehensive, I think I'm going to keep my presentation to high level, kind of the amenities of this project, and then have time for questions. So I think that's usually the best part, answering your questions. So here's a artist rendering of what the project would look like. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, there's the existing site details. As Lillian mentioned, 1.22 acres. There's a general plan and zoning. I don't need to restate that. Current land use is industrial. And I really appreciated Lillian's history on this site, because True Life did process the other 3 projects across the street on Terrib Court that are under construction right now. And so we were pleased to be able to get this property as well. And we feel that the project we're proposing is compatible with the whole kind of renaissance of this area of town, the task. Next slide, please. Development metrics, same as everything Lillian stated, 2 units, and the breakdown of 2-bedroom and 3 beds are there on the left of your screen. That shows also sort of their range of areas from, 1,854 square feet up to 2,354 square feet. We are providing the 50% affordable units on site. That's 5 units. 4 units will be ADA accessible. And again, there's the height and the parking and the guest stalls that Lillian covered. Same architectural elevations. Next slide, please. So I thought you might want to understand more how these units lay out. I think it's not very common that we go into this. And this is a 3-story plan, and based on the tandem configurations, I thought you might be interested just to understand how these units kind of fit together. As you can see, the tandem garages are side by side on the ground floor, and each has an entry porch, and then they walk up. So as you can see, unit 1 is the blue. So blue is all living on the 2nd floor. And then unit 4 is the green, and you walk up past the 2nd floor all the way to the 3rd floor to live. So these are stacked flats right there. Next slide, please. And this is the more complicated one. So these come in 3 packs. And as you can see from the color coding, all 3 tandem garages are there on the ground floor. The middle unit has a bit of a foyer space. And then they're all walk-ups. Now, based on the color coding, you can see the green is the 2nd floor unit. And then I would call yellow and pink, they live back to back, and they're 2-story units. So you have to walk up past, you can see the pink and the yellow stairways there on the 2nd floor. You walk up past the 2nd floor to get to the 3rd and 4th floor of these, for these plans. So these live as stacked townhomes. That's what we call them, stacked townhomes. Okay, next slide, please. So this is repeating all of the amenities. I just thought maybe having the leader arrows showing that we have only 1 entry off of Terrib Court, starting on the left-hand side of the screen. You can access the entire site through walkways all the way around. We have pervious pavers down the center. You can see the 7 guest parallel stalls along that edge there on the far left. Then our bicycle racks are back there in the bottom left corner. I wanted to point out that we are, to redevelop the site, we're taking out the perimeter trees. That's 34 of them, and we are replacing them with 128 trees on site. Then we have their passive open space on the, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen at the top and bottom. There's an EVA gate for access onto Lundy. I can explain that more later if you'd like. The dots and the stars, as noted, the circles are the affordable unit locations. They've been predetermined, and then the stars are the accessible units. The parking over on the right-hand side will include 2 ADA van spaces, which will also be EV charging spaces. Then you can see the mailbox station. So that is, it's a fairly simple, a straightforward plan. But folks would be driving in off of Terrib and entering their garages and then backing into that common area, and they're supposed to leave back through Terrib. So daily activities driving won't come out on Lundy Avenue. That will be a gated EVA exit for fire and garbage service only. All of these units will be served like a single family dwelling. They'll pull their carts out to the street, you know, that center spine street onto their aprons there, and the garbage service will come by and pick up their trash from the cans, and then they'll have to pull their cans back into their garages. And those garages actually have dedicated space for those waste containers. So we've planned all that in. Next slide, please. Again, the same elevation. I have another one. So that's Terrib Court elevation. And then next slide, please. We'll show you what it looks like coming in off of Lundy. You know, you turn trade zone onto Lundy, and that's what you would be seeing. And that is the extent of my presentation. I would be happy and would enjoy your questions. I'd be happy to answer them. You should know that we have our legal counsel, Ariel Harris, here, if there's any questions that she can help me answer.
All right, thank you, Ms. Beniston. At this time, do any of the planning commissioners have any questions? Commissioner Ciardella.
Yes, I'd like to know if the garages are plumbed for electricity for the electric cars.
Yes, they will be.
They will be. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That seems to be important nowadays.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions from any other commissioners?
I'm not sure if this question is for Lillian or Leah, but does this project fall under the California solar mandate?
This project will actually have solar based on what the current building code requires. So yes, it is. I don't know the technical term for it, but it is within the building code right now that solar be provided.
So all the units will have rooftop solar then?
Yeah. And the HOA will manage all that.
And we do have our building official, Bill Tott, here with us tonight. I don't know if you want to add anything in, Bill.
Okay, I think you can hear me now. I don't know if you can see me. Hold on a sec, but that is correct. So for the current building code, those occupancies are required to have solar. There are some exceptions, and those deal with shading, which I don't know that this would be able to take advantage of those. There's 5 exceptions to that basic requirement for solar PV on single family homes, which these are considered. So hope that answers your question. Any other comments I can help you with?
No, that was it for me. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions from any other commissioners? Commissioner Galong.
Yes, I have a question to Ms. Leah. About the tandem parking, can you please explain again? Very complicated to me, the tandem parking. Can you show me that one more time?
Like if they want to pull up the presentation again, that'd be fine. But tandem parking is just 2 parking spaces, one behind the other. And what I was explaining is that we have made sure to design in the trash bin storage so that those bins don't get left out on the shared street. So that's what I was trying to determine, but tandem is just, so see those colors there, that tandem garage, those X's represent where the cars would park. So 2 cars could park in there, back, one in goes in and the other one comes in behind. So that's a tandem space.
You're talking about the whole first floor?
Yes, the whole first floor is garages.
How about your emergency exit on the building? Do you have that? Can you show me?
Oh, well, all of the windows for the sleeping rooms have emergency access from their windows.
From each unit has an emergency?
Yes,
exit?
every bedroom has an emergency EV access through their bedroom windows.
Okay.
And that's required by the fire department. And the fire department did review this application and agreed.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
All right. Commissioner Albana, I saw you had your hand up simultaneously, so.
Oh, yes,
go ahead.
I was going to also ask either Ms. Leah here also, or Mr. Todd, if with the new development right now, especially this one is like 4 stories, it is always required already, right, to have the fire sprinklers?
Yes, it is.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from any other commissioners? So, okay. So no other questions. Let's see. I think right now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to open up the public, this being a public hearing item. I'd like to open up the public forum first, and then after that, we have any questions for any of the, I see we have Deputy Chief Zamora, as well as any further questions for building official Tot or traffic manager Chan. If we have any questions, if you guys are okay, we'll do that after the public forum. So at this time, I'd like to open up the public forum. Those interested in addressing the Planning Commission on this particular subject may do so. Please provide your name and city of residence for recording Secretary's record, and comments may be limited to 3 minutes or less. As in, at this time, Ms. Medina, do we have anyone in the queue with any questions for the public forum?
Vice Chair, at this time, we do not have any community members in the queue for public comment for this item.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to close the public forum?
Motion to close the public forum?
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I heard Commissioner Alcorn, and I heard a second from Commissioner Albana. So let's do the roll call vote. Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Commissioner Galong. I need you to get off mute.
Aye, sorry about that.
Commissioner Belong.
Aye.
Commissioner Ciardella.
Aye.
Commissioner Alcorn.
Aye.
And Vice Chair is aye, so 6-0. Okay, public forum is now closed. Okay, any questions for, any further questions for the applicant or planning staff? Okay, I don't see any hands. Okay, any questions for, I'm going to go to Deputy Fire Chief Zamora. Any questions for Deputy Fire Chief Zamora? Okay, if there's no questions for Deputy Fire Chief, thank you, Deputy Fire Chief. You can go ahead and go. We don't have any questions for you.
Vice Chair, before,
Okay.
did he leave?
Yes, go ahead, Planning Director, please.
Sorry, before the Deputy Fire Chief leaves, I know that earlier this week, there was a question that came to me about, as Ms. Beniston described how the units interlock with one another. So they share a number of common walls and the common floor. You may want to have the deputy chief comment on how the fire department reviewed that and the measures that are taken for fire safety in that type of a building.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Planning Director. Welcome, Deputy Fire Chief. Yeah, so based on Planning Director's comments, if you have any comments regarding the tandem.
Sure. First of all, let me say good evening to you, sir, and honorable members of the Planning Commission. With regards to what was said by Ned, all of the dwelling units are compartmentalized by a 1 hour fire assistive construction. So no matter how they're set, placed, or staggered, you have a 1 hour fire assistive constructions that includes vertical walls, floor seating assemblies, and roof sealing assemblies. This building is fitted out with fire sprinkler systems and is supervised by a fire alarm system that reports back to a central station. That being said, we have adequate access to and from the site. As you noted on the site plan, there is a gate. We only access that if for some reason the initial access becomes blocked or compromised. Otherwise, we're good to go. The project is adequate. It meets the minimum requirements of the fire code. End of report.
Thank you, Deputy Fire Chief Zamora. Before I let you go, thank you for that, for your comments there. Really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Based on any comments, the comments from Deputy Fire Chief, does any other planning commissioners have any questions for Fire Chief? Okay, if there's no further questions, thank you, Deputy Fire Chief Zamora. Appreciate your time.
Very good.
We're good to go here.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next, does anyone have any questions for Mr. Tott? Okay. Before I let you go, Mr. Tott, do you have any comments you'd like to make? Or?
No, it's good that you can all see my entire face, although I think the hairline is not as attractive anymore. But anyway, I appreciate your time and I hope your meeting goes well. And yeah, I'm available in the office anytime if anybody has any questions you'd like to run by me as far as application of the building codes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're free to go now. So thank you very much. Okay.
Have a good night.
All right, you too. And then the next person we have is our traffic manager, Mr. Chan. Mr. Chan, do you have any comments you'd like to make regarding traffic?
Yes, the project site circulation hasn't really changed since its initial approval. It's less intense right now. So the current proposed project, I see there's no operation issue related to this development.
Okay, thank you. Planning commissioners, do you have any question? Anyone have any questions for Mr. Chan? Okay, if we have no questions for Mr. Chan, thank you for coming. I'm going to go ahead and let you go then.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. And planning commissioners, any final questions for planning staff or the applicant? Okay. One item I want to just go through first, and I'm going to call each individuals. I just want to go through deliberations, before we run through a vote. So if no one has any questions, I'm going to first start with Commissioner Aldana. Any comments or any final deliberations?
All right. It just popped out in my mind. Maybe I could address this to Miss Lillian. When the developer has asked for an exemption, there were some waivers that they are entitled to. One of those waivers would be, I believe, the tandem parking. They're allowed. What are the other waivers? I just wanted to learn more. For example.
So, yeah, so one of One of them is the tandem parking, like you mentioned, and then the other one was just the reduction of one guest parking space. That's it.
I see. Yeah. Well, it's good to know. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Albana. Commissioner Galang, any final comments? Need you off mute.
Yeah. No, sir.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Belong.
No comments. I think it's much needed housing that the city needs. So I'm pretty pleased with the project.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Ciardella.
No comment.
Okay, Commissioner Alcorn.
No comments at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Myself, think this project is pretty straightforward. Overall looks like everything's, you pretty much filled in all the check marks for this end. As Commissioner Belong stated, this fulfills the need for much needed housing, and I really appreciate the additional 10 to 15% the affordable housing aspect of it as well. So, okay, if there's no other comments, can I get a motion? Before we get the motion going, can we also put the screenshot for the recommendations?
You don't have it memorized?
I do actually. I do. So if but I need to get a motion from. Okay, can I get a motion from?
Motion to adopt resolution number 21-002 by the Planning Commission. Oh, I have to read it, right?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Loud and proud.
Oh, wait, hold on. I have to move the screen away. All right. I'd like to pass a motion to adopt resolution number 022, recommending that the City Council approve site development permit SD 21-004, conditional use permit UP 21-0005, tentative map MT 21-001, environmental assessment EA 21-002, subject to the findings and conditions of approval.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Albana and a second from Commissioner Alcorn. I will now do the roll call vote. So Commissioner Albana. I need you to get off mute. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Galang.
Yes.
Commissioner Belong.
Yes.
Commissioner Ciardella.
Yes.
Commissioner Alcorn.
Aye.
And Vice Chair is aye. So you have a 6-0 approval here. So congratulations to the applicant. All right.
Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate all your help.
Thank you. So, okay, so next item, and thank you, Ms. Van Hoa, and thank you to the applicant. Okay, next item is new business, planning director.
Call that up here. So each year we present to the City Council, each city commission presents to the City Council a work plan for the coming year. And as included in your packet, we have the work plan for the Planning Commission. Our work plan actually doesn't change too frequently unless we have larger long-range planning items. For example, last year's work plan included adoption of the general plan, which I'm happy to, as you all know, was adopted earlier this year. So that fell off our work plan, but we do have, well, let me go down the list here. So we have the regular development review, such as tonight, where we hold, we're scheduled to hold 2 meetings per month. There's the work of the planning commissioners involves reading the meeting packets, participating in the meetings. Sometimes you'll make site visits or meet with the applicants. And then on you'll take action as you did tonight on making a recommendation to the city council, and or there are certain types of permits like conditional use permit the council or the commission takes final action on. So that's kind of the bulk of the work that you do, I'll do as commissioners. But we have these other items too, such as we have the two specific plans that are currently underway. And so there, every once in a while, there's our touch points along the way. We've had a couple of meetings, special meetings with the Planning Commission to discuss the Metro Plan. There was one, well, we had one joint meeting that was for the general plan. We usually try to have one joint meeting per year with the council. As I mentioned, we just kicked off the Gateway Main Street plan, so we will have some additional meetings for that. Sometimes those will be included in your regular meeting, or we may have special meetings for that. And then from time to time, we also bring to you zoning ordinance text amendments. In the past year, we've had them related to massage permits, accessory dwelling units. We did one with hotel parking, and we have some of those coming forward. At some point, when we have the staff resources available, we will be undertaking a comprehensive update of the zoning ordinance. It's programmed into the city's capital improvement program and is a much needed update. After the general plan a new general plan is adopted, usually the very next project, a major project that a city undertakes, is updating the zoning ordinance so that the two documents, the primary policy documents and regulatory documents, are in sync with one another. We will be as I mentioned, we will be undertaking that. Hopefully within the next year, we can kick that off. And then, as you all know, once per year, engineering department comes before you for the annual finding of conformance of the capital improvement program, the CIP, with the general plan. So that's an important function of the Planning Commission. And then I've included on here just our ongoing training, I refer to as coaching, as we bring on a new planning commissioner, or one or more new planning commissioners, and we'll continue our ongoing training. And usually once per year, we have Martin or someone else from our city attorney's office do a refresher on the Brown Act, just to keep the commissioners up to date. And then as the year goes by, if you have interest in attending either the League of California Cities Planning Commissioner Academy or the California Planning Association annual conference, there's those training opportunities as well to help you, keep up to date with current planning practice. So that's our work plan as presented to the council this year. I don't know if you have I wanted to present it as new business. If you have any questions or additional input, happy to provide any feedback.
Any questions from any of the commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Ciardella.
Yeah, this is, I guess, for Ned and the Planning Commission, and probably a little bit of staff too, I guess. I was at the trunk or treat representing the Spring Valley Volunteer Fire Department, and a couple of the folks that came by and visited us was the mayor of Fremont, Lily, and also the chair of the Planning Commission. And about, a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago, we had a joint meeting with Milpitas and Fremont. And it was very interesting. One of the issues that came up is that, they were building a 4-lane street and we were building a 2-lane street, and they were going to merge. And so, that could have been a very interesting issue for both cities. And I thought, God, maybe we can get together with them next year again and have a joint meeting. So it's something, you guys might want to consider.
Great. No, it's a great suggestion. We do have, in addition to Fremont, we have our larger neighbor to the south. In conjunction with the Metro Plan, we are aware of a couple of requests by private property owners for they own property that either straddles the city boundary, and a portion of the property is in San Jose and a portion's in Milpitas. And then there's one where it's really a remnant parcel with really no access from San Jose and all services provided by Milpitas. And it's kind of a historical anachronism that needs to be annexed into the city of Milpitas. So that starts with the property owner. I'm aware that they have made that request to the city of San Jose, and it goes, there's another intermediary body called the local area, LAFCO, Local Agency Formation Commission. I'll probably get that quite wrong. And we will be working with them and the city of San Jose on those possible annexations. So that may give an opportunity. I bring that up because that may bring an opportunity for the Planning Commission to possibly meet in that regard as well. So we'll keep that option open, but I really do appreciate you bringing that up, Commissioner Cyril. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
May I ask a couple questions?
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Alcorn.
So one question is kind of piggybacking off Commissioner Cyril's. I think that's a fantastic idea. We're a lot of the time we are in our own little world over here. There's a lot going on in Milpitas, and I think we have a lot to learn by setting up a meeting with other cities' planning commissions, even if it's not to address business, but just to share what the process is like, what kind of projects they usually go through. We can bring a few big projects that are behind us, and they can, bring a few big projects that are behind them, and just share what the process was like and the things that they have to consider versus the things that we have to consider when approving or denying could be different. And we would never know unless we talk to them. I know a planning commissioner over in San Jose right now. And he when he describes some of the meetings, it's very different over there. And so I think that there's a lot of benefit to meeting with other cities as well. And whether it's Fremont or San Jose or Mountain View, I think that would be a fantastic idea and an amazing chance for all of us to learn what our neighbors are like, and what the process there is like. So that's the first thing.
Yeah, as you bring that up, I'm thinking, I can reach out to my counterpart in Fremont. Maybe it's some type of a training or a study session, we might call it, with the two planning commissions, depending on what your calendars look like. I know they have a transit center BART station as well with development similar to ours going in. It might be interesting to compare and contrast how their work is moving along. We could also look at possible, economic development issues that they look at and have our economic development team be involved in that. So there's a lot of different opportunities like that. And again, I really appreciate that's such a good suggestion to look into.
And right now that our meetings are happening on Zoom, I mean, there's no better time than now, because we don't have to travel to Fremont, or they don't have to travel to Milpitas, and we don't have to worry about a space that's big enough. It's, we can just all get on a Zoom call. So I think, my personal opinion is, I don't know if it's possible, but we should probably try to shoot for this while we're still doing remote meetings, if that's at all possible. Because like I said, it's the easiest to do it right now, but I know something like that is a lot of work and a lot of planning. So if it doesn't happen, I won't hold it against you, but try.
Yeah. Well,
I have one more question as well. The conferences that are possibly happening next year, most likely, hopefully happening, are they going, do you know, you might not even know yet, but do you know if they're going to be in person or over Zoom?
That is a really good question. The California State Planning Conference, which is actually quite good, and they usually have a track specific to planning commissioners, I think is going to be in person in the next year. It's usually in the fall, and I believe it is the turn of Southern California. I think they usually rotate around the state, and I think it will be in Southern California this coming year. So we will see. I will note that we cut back on our budget as we were putting the budget together last year. We were still in the midst of the pandemic, and then we're not in recovery mode. So we cut back quite a bit on our training.
How dare you?
Budget. Yeah. But as resources are available, then certainly that will be an opportunity for some commissioners to attend that. And a lot of the meetings are going, hybrid. So even though the conference is in person, they may have the option, similar to what our council is doing now, they may have the option for virtual attendance as well. And so that's something we can look into. And then that the California Association of Cities, I'm not getting the name quite right. They do an annual Planning Commissioner Academy, where I think some of you have attended, and that's in the past years, and that's actually quite good as well, specifically for planning commissioners. So it's very good.
To Commissioner Alcorn's, comment, meeting with other cities, that's actually, I highly recommend, any of the commissioners who have not been to the Planning Commissioner Academy. That's also another area to talk to, cities from pretty much all over California, and you'll even see some of the planning commissioners from some of the local, like nearby, like Fremont or even San Jose or even like Los Altos, just to, talk to them and share ideas as well there. So
now I will check again too. In the past, Sonoma State University used to do an annual sort of like a half-day workshop, again, for planning commissioners. And I attended it a number of years when I was working in Sonoma County. And it's not limited only to, Sonoma County issues. It's for any planning commissioners, but it's usually early December. So it will be, if they're doing it this year, it will be coming right up. I know they were on hiatus for the past 2 years, I believe, due to the pandemic. But if they're doing that again this year, it's a little bit of a drive. It's in Rohnert Park. It's I was very impressed with the speakers. They usually have a keynote speaker from maybe the state house department, either the governor's office of planning and development, or HCD, housing and community development, and a couple of panel discussions, and it's usually very good. And again, the time commitment is not large, and it's a smaller group, so it tends to be very useful too. So I'll look into that and see if that's a possibility, because that's a little more cost effective as well.
Okay, great. Any other questions for the planning director? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, planning director.
Now let's see. I wonder, did we have I can't remember how we put this on there. We presented it. Let me see if we need to have a vote just to. How did we have that on the agenda?
Yeah, it's just new business.
Was it just new business?
Yeah,
okay.
There's nothing to.
I do remember voting on the work plan in the past.
Yeah, Martin, that might be a question for you. It's not agendized that way. It just said we review and approve the annual work plan. It does say approve. I don't know if can we do that as, I don't know if it'd be necessarily a straw poll, but could we, even though it's not agendized that way, can we have the council, or excuse me, the commission just voice their consent for the work plan?
Yeah, I think that would work, because the recommendation here, staff recommends that the commission receive the planning commission work plan. So like in lieu of sort of taking a formal vote, we can just, the commission can sort of just have an affirmation that the work plan is, satisfactory. So we don't really need to take a vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can certainly do it as a vote, just to, just so there's no questions asked around that, planning director. So,
well, I think, sorry, Chair, I think the only concern is that the Brown Act requires sort of like this, the way that the agenda
language.
Yeah, sometimes like there's a formal action, even though there is no sort of legal risk, I would imagine, with an approval of a work plan. I think just sort of. I think oftentimes the council will just receive the report. They won't take a vote on receiving that.
Unless someone has something they want me to bring back, then we'll take that as you consent and accept the work plan as it was presented.
How about this, planning director and city attorney? I just go down the line and ask anyone have any comments regarding the plan, and have them address. They're fine with that.
Sure, that
sounds good.
Works.
Okay, all right. Well, so we'll do that. Okay, at this time, I'm going to go down the line and ask for any comments in regard to the the work plan. So I'm going to start with you, Commissioner Albana.
I like it. I like this work plan and I approve it.
Okay, Commissioner Galang.
No comment, sir.
Do you like the
Yeah,
work
I support,
plan?
yes.
Okay.
Yes, let's move forward.
Okay. Commissioner Belong.
It looks great, even though I won't be a part of it. And so it's got my blessing.
Okay. Commissioner Ciardella.
Yeah, you got my blessing too. And I'll tell you, I talked to the chair of the Fremont Planning Commission for probably an hour and 15 minutes last night. And he's very, very excited about what we want to do.
Good.
That's great. That's great. All right. Commissioner Alcorn.
You have my affirmation and confirmation.
Okay. Thank you. And planning director, I'm fine with the plan too. It looks great. And, you know, looking at it, I approve of it. So.
Right. Thank you. Appreciate the input and the feedback. Take care of that.
Thank you. So if there's no other further questions or comments in regard to new business, I am going to read the legalese. Any person aggrieved by any final decision of any board, commission, or department head to the city of Milpitas may appeal the decision to the city council by filing written notice of the appeal with the city clerk within 12 calendar days of the date of said decision and paying the required fee. This time limit shall be strictly enforced. Okay, next item on the agenda is adjournment. May I have a motion for adjournment?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion from Commissioner Belong. This is your final motion. So thank you again for your service. And I have a second from Commissioner Belong. We'll just do, quick straw hand. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I don't think anyone's opposing. So I wish you all well until our next meeting.
Should I oppose this final motion?
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening. Okay. Bye-bye.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.